guests, he pens a weekly open dialogue to men who are often misrepresented, misunderstood, and misled. Black men. From I'm sorry. From being outspoken but always honest, insightful, and knowledgeable, he is the host with the most. Jay.
I'm the host with the most?
Apparently, that's what they have.
Well, I'll accept it. What up, dog?
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
Well, how are you?
I'm unbelievable.
Love it.
Well, that's an adjective. I love it. Well, since you are unbelievable, we're going to get right into it. Do you consider yourself a voice of influence? And how do you sustain that when people look positively and negatively on the topics you cover on your show?
Do I consider myself a voice of influence?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Oh.
Mm.
I'm just the guy that asks questions. I do acknowledge that people that people listen to me asking questions. I fully acknowledge that, but more often I try to have the question, not the answer. So I wouldn't say I influence many people. I try to make it to where the guests on my show are influential and they're able to tell their stories.
Mm. Okay. What do people misunderstand about Black gay men the most?
That everything's about sex.
Okay. Yeah.
And why is that? Why is everything about sex?
I don't think everything is about sex. I think that we are dynamic and nuanced. I think that we are really dope individuals. We are dope as a culture, but we are sexualized a lot by each other, by the broader society, by the media, because Black men are very sexy. But I think underneath all of that, there is insight and intellect and wisdom and power and a whole bunch of other things that some of us feel like we don't have opportunity to bring to the forefront.
Mm.
Mm. Wow.
Unbelievable.
Show stopping.
Right. On a recent show of yours, you were speaking about keeping in touch with your ex. People keep in touch with their exes. Do you keep in touch with your ex? And why do you think for us to do so?
Do I keep in touch with my ex?
Yeah. That one that you left.
So the funny thing is, I got dumped.
Oh.
That is the reason why my podcast. I started a podcast because somebody dumped me. It was a big deal at the time. But interestingly enough, I do keep in touch with that ex. He is. I still have his phone number. If I called him, I guarantee he'd answer. And his mother loves me because moms love me. But I wouldn't be like he ain't in my recent calls on my phone.
Mm.
But if I needed him, I could call him. But beyond that, no, I don't keep in touch with my exes. I think they can. I think for me, it would be a distraction from somebody that I would date in the future.
Yeah,
I agree.
I'm pretty much friends with my exes, so
Why?
Not like friends like I call them every day, but we're friendly. It's not like a thing. Like we dated, it happened. That was the past. Hello, goodbye. That's all it is. Like there's no,
Like, when you say hello, goodbye, does that mean like, hello, goodbye, get the fuck off my phone? Or hello, goodbye, like, oh, we'll have a conversation?
We can An ex of mine, and a very long time ago ex of mine, just hit me up last week, and after the show, and he was like, "Oh, you're doing such a good job, and blah blah blah. We're doing all these things, and blah blah blah." And it was just like that, and very nice, casual, hello and goodbye, all at the same time.
Okay. I mean, I think that's the same kind of situation I had with my ex.
Right.
The ex I'm thinking about. Beyond that, I don't talk to none of them.
None of them.
But no, there's one that I probably pick up the phone and be like, "You all right? How you doing?" I check on them. Think that ex's pronouns have changed recently. It's a thing. Okay, but yeah, two exes that I could call and be like, "What up, though?"
Right. Okay. Well, hello to they, them, there.
Hey to them. Hey to them.
Hey to them. So this weekend, the movie Barbie topped the box office and made over $150 million, which broke records. But there's been talks about being targeted, men and specifically being targeted and feminized. Do you see this as an issue?
Men being targeted and feminized?
Yes.
Do I see it as an issue? Okay, so I got a long way to answer that. Is that okay?
Of course.
Okay, so this past weekend, T.S. Madison and Just Hilarious had their whole issue and all this other shit, right? About who owns menstruation and periods and whatnot. And then Barbie came out, and clearly that's a thing. And a lot of the shit that goes on in real life, I ain't got no dog in that fight. So a huge part of me is like, I don't have capacity to form opinions about things that don't directly impact me or impact people that I love. I do know a lot of feminine men who have not been feminized by anything. That's just how they are, right? Or I know a lot of masculine men who don't give a fuck about it either way. I think I'm somewhere in the middle, and I'm like, I don't think I have one of those. The Barbie issue, I don't have space to have an opinion. The menstruation issue, I don't think my opinion would even matter in that situation. Like, I don't menstruate, so I don't have. I got a dog in that fight.
I think as men, we definitely we should have some kind of opinion on that matter, especially for women's rights. But yeah, I think that there is something that goes on in our society that we do turn off just because it doesn't directly affect us. But if it's affecting people, we are a community.
Who is the we in that sentence?
We are from God, and we are His children. So I think the we is all of us. We are a family together, in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I hear that. I don't like. I do have a stance in women's rights.
Mm-hmm.
I do support trans rights.
Well, so
if trans women and cis women are having a debate amongst themselves, me injecting myself into that has no basis. That's family business that I don't have a say in. I don't menstruate. I don't have a period. I don't have a uterus. I don't identify as a woman. Between the two of them, that's their shit. not mine.
Right. Well, I mean, I think that some people think about like trans lives matter, and we stand up for that. So that's kind of where I kind of feel like that. But
I
what
do
is?
believe trans lives matter.
Uh-huh.
I do believe that trans lives matter, black trans lives matter, black women's lives matter, but we're not talking about do trans matter in broader society, because I think that in that instance, yes, it's important for me to stand with trans people. But if it is a debate about what it means to be a woman between two different kinds of women, then I don't think that's a space for a cis man to inject himself.
Well, that kind of conversation does open you up to other conversations, right? So if you are denying that, I feel if you're denying trans women in any form, that allows the conversation to steer to hateful comments towards trans women, right? So if Jess Hilarious is saying, y'all, whatever she's saying this weekend, I don't want to misquote her because that's incorrect. That opens the door because everyone's reading that, right? It's not just women reading that.
Yes.
Everyone's reading it. So if everyone's a part of reading it, then we are all probably a part of the conversation. If that makes sense.
I mean, that makes total sense. It's for instance, like when I was in middle school, my best friend and a bully got in a fight, right? As long as it was the two of them fighting, I stood there and I held my ground. The second somebody else tried to jump in and jump my best friend, I'm beating everybody's ass. And I feel as if cis women and trans women are having a debate about womanhood,
Right.
that's one thing. But if you or I jump in and add our 2 cents, my job is not to tell either of them what womanhood looks like. My job is to beat your funky ass. Not that you're funky, but you know what I mean. Like,
I didn't think you were.
My job isn't to get in the middle of your conversation and guide it toward a resolution, because I don't have a dog in that fight. But if Joe Schmo in the comments is magnifying the situation by saying derogatory remarks toward trans people, that is a battle that I can fight with Joe Schmo. I don't have to get involved in Jess Hilarious and T.S. Madison or cis women and trans women. I don't have a dog in that fight.
Yeah,
I can protect both. I can protect all women, I think, trans and cis, without injecting my masculine cisgendered opinion in their conversation.
Yeah, I think that's definitely one way, and I think that we could all say that everyone should just be here and allowed. That's not my masculine self saying injecting. That's just saying accept people. There's nothing crazy about saying that. But
I agree.
Yeah.
But so what do you also offer that it's just like if you and I are debating something that is gay, that is germane to black gay people, you and me, assuming that you are black, because I don't want to make an assumption. But if you are black and gay and I'm black and gay and we are talking about black gay shit,
no, I'm not gay.
Cisgender sister can't get in that fight. She can't add any context to that conversation. Now, if someone hears that conversation that is white and starts saying shit about black people, then that's a totally different conversation. That's a totally different argument. But if you and I are debating black gay shit, then someone who is not black nor gay I don't believe they should jump into that. But if the conversation broadens to something bigger than that, where I do have a vested interest and I can offer support or guidance or resolution or defense or encouragement, that's a different conversation. But we're talking about two women or groups of women that have a issue within themselves. And I don't think it does any woman a service to fight that battle for them unless they call on me. I do believe that that is a time for me. My black male ass got to step back until you tell me how I can be of service in this fight. We don't need.
Yes.
I don't need to be present in everything all the time, because that to me just sounds like misogyny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't get misogyny from that. But sure. What is the obsession that you think that we have with masculinity in our community, and why is it so hard to believe that a feminine person could be a top?
I don't have any issue with feminine people being. I prefer a feminine top.
Mm.
I love the idea of me personally, I'm attracted to like the mashup of masculine and feminine in the same person. Like my ex, the last person I dated, and the people that I'm primarily attracted to are you know, they wear like long acrylic stiletto nails, but they got a beard and they bald headed, or you know, like I like the mashup of masculine and feminine. I do think that there's. Say again.
Saucy.
I am not particularly attracted to saucy, but yes, that vibe, I get it.
Okay.
I see the appeal of it, but I think that there is just deep ties to heteronormativity that keeps our culture so enthralled with, masculinity. I don't shade anybody who likes masculine boys. I don't think there's a problem with it, but I do think that there's kind of a denial of all these other versions of men. Maybe not masculinity, but versions of men that are equally or more attractive. I'm a firm believer that a bush queen is gonna treat you right.
Yeah.
Someone's at the front door.
Someone's at the front door. I ain't gotta get it, but go ahead.
I definitely agree. Like I can relate with that answer because I love to balance both my feminine and masculine traits, and I discuss that all the time on the show, and I think that's very, very important for our community because honestly, just as well as I can dress in a masculine presenting way, I can also be very submissive and very feminine in the way that I cater to the person that I choose to lay down in the bed with.
Do you think those two things go together? Feminine and submissive?
Yes, I do. See, that's tricky too because you can also be feminine and dominant.
I call it a bossy bottom, which I love. I love a bossy bottom. Not bitchy. I don't like bitchy, but I love a bossy bottom. I think I'm definitely a switch. I like someone who can take charge, but that doesn't necessarily mean I want you to fuck me. So I for me specifically, I think that there is so much power in how non-masculine men kind of put all these pieces of themselves together and express it to the world. Because, like, to me, masculinity is important. It's dope. But I just think black gay men are much more dynamic. Everybody, I ain't met a black gay man who ain't got a little girl in him that won't drop a little sis every once in a while, even though they could be a very masculine person. And I think that leaning into and appreciating that kind of nuance is important. And I think the reason why a lot of us are single is because we want so much of one or the other. We want like all mask or all film, even though really deep down inside, if we unpack our attractions, we really want like a blend of a whole bunch of things. And uncovering that for ourselves individually, I think is going to be one of the keys to a lot more of us getting in love.
Are you single?
As a dollar bill.
Oh.
Wow. Do you talk about unpacking attractions on your show?
All the time.
Okay, because I need to listen more in, honestly, because unpacking attractions is very, very, very important. Like, I think a lot of attractions fall back into societal norms, which we shouldn't be dating for society. We should be dating for each other.
Yeah, I think, so I did talk about this one time on the podcast. So my show, I have two shows technically, but I have a podcast that releases on Wednesdays. It's just me and my thoughts. And then I have a live show on Thursdays where I'm interviewing one or two guests on YouTube. But I talked about this on the podcast where when you're dating or when you're getting to know somebody, I really do think that it has to be for the two or more people involved, because polyamory is a thing. It's absolutely a thing, and if that's right for you, then I respect it. But I also do acknowledge that a little piece of me, a little tiny piece, believes that when you're in a relationship, a loving relationship, and you're able to be public, you should be, especially if it's two Black men, because we need to see more of us. We need to see more of us in love and living our best life, and all of that. And I don't want to put it as if it's a responsibility of couples, but seeing more couples in varying degrees of relationship is important for us as a culture, I think.
It is. It helps change the narrative of dating within the Black gay community, because honestly, like, I just, like, a lot of people say HO is life, and I don't believe that at all. Like,
what is life?
No.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. That's a popular saying nowadays, and I don't, and maybe it's not for me to understand, but I wish we did see more of Black gay couples right before ours, because we don't see it a lot. We don't see it a lot.
Yeah, I think. I mean, now don't get me wrong. Your whole phase is important. Like, to me, you got to get that energy off your body at sometimes, and so. But I do believe that seeing us, and what I don't see a lot of, because I do have a lot of friends who are in relationships. What I don't see a lot of are people who are like dating or in the beginning part of a relationship. It's like people get together and then they disappear and they pop back up either on the gram on some island or when they get married. And I think, for me at least, the reason, the hard part becomes, I don't know how to get from when you were single to now you married. Like, what happened in the gap? And I think a lot of us who are single and have been so for a long time, we don't know how to navigate that because we don't see a lot of it. We see falling in love like Noah and Wade on Noah's Ark, or we see single like Ricky, and we don't really have a whole lot of the middle area the dating phase that's so great for us. That's what I think.
I think that pretty much people put too much emphasis on things like a hoe phase. And that's why that's so popular, being a hoe, being a city girl, city boy. Those things are so popular because people put too much attention on that being so important, when I don't think that's very important. I think if you want to have sex with people, that's fine. But I think to classify it for me as a hoe phase that's just like why people aren't, especially in this community, aren't into relationships as much.
You think we're not into relationships?
Well, like you said, there's not much representation. So without that
There's
representation,
not.
more about being what is it, sneaky link and things of that nature. Those are represented very much across the board.
Very much, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't think that relationships are prevalent, especially in the Black gay male community, bi male too, just because of those reasons.
I think the only reason I think that my norms and the norms of my social circle have changed is because we getting old. Like, I'm almost 40, and the outlook of love looks very different now than it did, 15 years ago. And like, I was just telling my best friend, he's going through something. Don't need to explain what it is because it's a little personal. But I was like, "Girl, you need a husband. You need a man to help you parse through some of this shit." And then he looked at me. He was like, "Jay, you need one too." And I was like, "I know. I need a fucking man." Like,
You give husband energy.
I try to give husband energy. I just gotta find somebody who want to take it.
So, would you ever date your friend?
No.
Okay, well then.
No. Oh, he's like a sibling. That would be like me dating my biological sister. And I think,
Okay.
Yeah, like in my head is I got an older sister, a younger brother, his wife, and my best friend. Like, those are my siblings. I couldn't. He don't make my dick hard. That's like a litmus test for me. He don't make my dick hard.
So much on my card.
Well, he has several ideas for merch on that he has already dropped on this interview. So literally, I like the bossy bottoms. I think that would be so cute on a shirt. I would totally buy it.
Yes,
just an idea. But
like, now I will tell you, a bossy bottom will. If assuming that you are a position that can appreciate a bossy bottom, will change your fucking life. They will get your life absolutely together. Cause I think that feminine energy that comes through receptive partners, it is intended to upgrade what it is attached to. And I have reaped the benefits of a bossy bottom. Two of my exes, the best people that I've ever dated, bossy bottoms. Love and respect a bossy bottom. I love and respect a feminine person, a butch queen, a femme queen. I can't really. I am not attracted to women, so trans women are not in my purview. But I love just anybody who is just shy, just short of masculine.
Okay. Learned a lot about you today, but definitely, I love the conversations that you have on your podcast because it definitely breaks down so much of what's going on in our little pocket of society.
Thank you.
And it helps detoxify the things that break our community apart as well. So, yeah.
I think that Black gay people, we tend to put our best foot forward because we are very much that. Like, we are tough as nails. We are strong people because a lot of us, most of us, I would say, probably have had to be. But the flip side of that is, I don't know that we share the vulnerable stories as often and as freely. And so I try to position Dear Black Gay Men in a space where people can lean into, the things that are not as often talked about, the emotions that are not as deeply felt or expressed, They can lead into the experiences that good and bad that shape who we are as people. And when we go live on Thursdays, when I publish the podcast on Wednesday, my intention really is to share a little bit of myself in a way that gives others permission to share a little bit of themselves. And that's why YouTube is the best platform for what we do, because the comment section is where we all come alive. People have told me all kind of crazy, interesting, groundbreaking, eye-opening things in the comment section, and I love it.